Okay, 80-20. Principle number 2 we already talked about. 80% vegetables, 20% other. And I tried to make it clear that that 20% other doesn't mean proteins, grains, and starches. One or the other. Okay. Principle number 1 is the 80-20. Eat until you're 80% full. Leaves 20% for digestion. This is huge. I mean, one of the classic things Americans do is they overeat. Our portion sizes in one meal literally can feed a person for 3 days. One meal can easily feed a person for 3 days. Especially if you go to like Outback or some of these places that have just ridiculous
eat a week on what they get.
size. I mean, portion sizes.
Yeah.
You know, and if your significant other, if you're married or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you know, you got to eat, share a meal every time. I mean, there is no need to order 2 meals. You'll save money, and it's just way too much food. It's not easy to do at first for a lot of people because they don't feel satisfied until they're full. They feel like their stomach has to feel full until they feel satisfied. Again, it might be a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get used to not overeating, and you'll feel satisfied, but you won't feel hungry. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. A lot of people have other issues going on where they might binge. It can be for a lot of different things, but a lot of people will do pretty good during the day and binge at night. And there's different reasons for that. I mean, it could be emotional stuff. It could be adrenal glands. They're craving sugar, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of various reasons that happens. So for those people, again, you just have to adjust and eat, try to eat 3 square meals if that's your problem. Don't go all day and then binge at night. So, and in Asia, they've been doing this forever, and they still do. They never eat till they're full. They consider it gluttony. They consider it rudeness. If you eat that much food. Us, we consider it like you're some kind of a champion because you ate a large pizza in one sitting, like you're a hero. Like that was me in college, man. I was the skinny guy that could eat a large pizza in one sitting. I was so cool, But that's kind of how we think here. So.
Or rude not to finish your plate. I mean, that's a lot of people grew up. You have to finish everything on your plate,
right,
too. So you kind of becomes a habit to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you follow the 80-20 rules, I don't think this will be a big deal. I mean, it's hard to get super full on vegetables. It's hard. You can.
Your mouth gets tired of chewing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Really
yeah.
does.
So, jaw strengthening exercises, eat more vegetables.
Exactly.
And I think one of the biggest things with this overeating and the 80-20 rule with eat only until you're 80% full, going back to candida and fungus, is the residue issue. Again, if you eat a huge meal that your body can't possibly digest and break down, it's going to sit there and it's going to work on it for hours and hours and hours. And all those residues go out into the bloodstream. And that's what feeds candida and yeast and fungus and things like that. They have found with people with autoimmune conditions, they have free-floating food residues and proteins floating through their bloodstream, and their immune system is attacking them. These people with rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and a lot of these autoimmune conditions. Free-floating particles from having high residue leftover junk in their system that their body can't break down and process. That's why enzymes are so great for so many people. Those systemic enzymes go through and gobble up all that junk that's floating around in our body that shouldn't be there. So, this is how you avoid high residue, not overeating. Principle 3 is eating 80% alkaline, 20% acidic. Okay? I should give you guys an acid-alkaline food list. Maybe I'll do that. I don't have it right now, but...
Does that go according to your blood type, or is that...
No.
It doesn't? Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
No, there's... It's different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. So, eating 80% alkaline. Again, what's alkalizing? Vegetables are alkalizing. Greens, your grasses, oxygen, exercise, breathing properly, these things are alkaline. What's acidic? Okay, some of the foods we need to eat are acidic. That's why it's 80-20. 20% acidic. You're going to eat nuts and seeds and good fats, and maybe you're drinking some raw goat's milk, whatever. Those things are acidic, but beneficial to the body.
What about citric fruits? Are they? Because I read that they're actually alkaline in the body.
Correct.
Well, let's see.
Actually, the most alkalizing fruit there is lemons. Lemons incredibly alkalizing to the body. All citrus fruits are alkalizing to the body. Yep. So, but again, I'm glad you mentioned that, because if you don't eat the fruit on an empty stomach, it becomes acid because it ferments and it rots inside your intestinal tract. Okay? So it's very important you combine properly.
But you can use lemons for flavoring fish and that?
Totally.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. And your water, flavoring fish, very cleansing, very alkalizing. Yep. Oh, this is where I put it's impossible to be alkaline and have a healthy body if you do not eat raw vegetables. Now, you can steam and cook vegetables and things like that. They're not going to be as beneficial and as alkalizing, but it's still great. Again, if you have impaired digestion, do it. Eat soups, eat cooked foods. That's still better than going off the deep end and eating a lot of other stuff. But when you get your digestion strong enough, which again, that's one of the first things I like to do when I work with people, is strengthen that digestion. You'll be able to tolerate raw foods a lot better, and you'll heal a lot faster. But if you force raw foods on the body too soon, a lot of people don't react well to that. The last principle is eat 80% raw and 20% cooked. Now, I don't even come close to following this in the wintertime, because I like cooked foods. I generally run a little bit cold, so I like my soups and my steamed foods, and it's 0 degrees out there, man. I still eat a salad for lunch, but usually when I go home, I want something steamed or cooked or something. I just do, So I gave you some examples of some things you can do, but focus on this in the summer. Again, experiment, challenge yourself. For 2 weeks, or let's go better yet. Let's go for 1 month this summer, for July or June or whatever month you pick. I'm going to combine food properly, and I'm going to eat all fresh food that I get from the local farmer's market. Tell me it doesn't change your life. Most people will feel better within 3 days. So, yeah, I definitely challenge you guys to try it. Winter might not be the best time to do that, but in summer, it's super easy to do it.
So when you go to the farmer's market, like if you go to one of the big ones like Overland Park or downtown, is that okay, or do you have to go to an organic farmer's market? No.
The thing with organic is, organic's great, okay? Most farmers aren't going to be organic, okay? It takes 3 years of testing. They have to come out, they have to do soil samples, they have to, they have specific guidelines you have to follow to become organic, to be certified organic. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money, and it's very time consuming. And no small farmer is going to be able to afford that. So you just have to talk to them, and just get a feel for them. Are they, you can usually tell if people are being honest or not. Mm-hmm. I'll go to the farmer's market, and I just, like, there's a gal selling strawberries. And I said, hey, because strawberries are normally sprayed with a couple hundred different chemicals. And she's like, nope, we don't spray our strawberries with anything. Sometimes if it's a really wet season, if it's really abnormally wet, it'll be prone to mold and fungus. So she goes, if we have a really wet season, we spray it with this chemical. This is what it's called, if you want to look it up and check it out. But it's the only thing we spray it with. We just spray it that one time, and that does the trick. And we sprayed it a month ago. They'll tell you exactly what they do.
So where do you go typically?
I like the Overland Park Farmers Market, the downtown Overland Park Farmers Market.
It seems
the River
like
Market's awesome, though.
Really? Because it looks like it's a bunch of stuff that's shipped and it's not.
That's the thing with the River Market. There's a lot of stores there that have a lot of stuff brought in that's not local. It's hard to know what's local and what's not at the River Market unless you talk to the farmers and find out.
But the Overland Park.
The Overland Park Farmers Market is almost all local farmers.
Great.
I don't know about Olathe. I don't know about all of them.
Olathe has a lot of good ones.
Okay. But I have a resource list if anybody wants it, and it's got all the farmers markets in Kansas City and the link to their to the websites. If anybody wants that information.
But if you don't get it from a farmer's market, you typically want organic.
Yes. Yes.
There are a few organic farmers around Kansas City.
Yeah.
Do you have that list?
I don't have listed the organic farmers around
Okay.
Kansas City.
Brookside has an organic farmer's market. Yeah.
I was gonna say there's
Pretty
one
pricey.
bad seed, but it's only open on
Yeah.
Friday night.
And the thing with an organic farmer's market, it's not going to be all local farmers. Because again,
Mhm.
most of them aren't going to be organic. So it's going to be stuff brought in from California,
Yeah.
stuff like that, which is fine. It's organic, but I like to support local.
Mhm.
You know, we need to support local farmers, okay? Especially with what's coming down the pipe with our food supply. By the way, I'm starting a Monsanto,
Ah, thank you.
what do you call it? A Monsanto advocacy group,
Good.
let's call it. Where I'm going to get some people together and we're going to write letters and call and talk to Monsanto, because genetically modified foods and things like that, they're illegal in Europe, okay? When they tried to introduce it there, people marched in the streets by the thousands.
Wow.
You know, we're lazy Americans. I'm one of them. You know, so it's time we step up. And a lot of people are, it's a new consciousness, a new awareness, like we've talked about. A lot of people are starting to stand up for things. And when it comes to our food, man, there's nothing more precious than our food supply. So they got a big battle on their hands.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's brainwashing too. I mean, I don't think the public really is aware of the seriousness of what Monsanto's doing
Right.
to our food supply.
Yeah. No, you're right.
They really don't
Because,
know.
you know, again, if you want this kind of information, you have to go somewhere to get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? You mean, maybe a neighbor knows about it or something, but you're not going to get it anywhere. You're not going to find it, even at Whole Foods, you're not going to get that information. Whole Foods actually just said yes to genetically modified alfalfa.
Yes. Really?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Wow.
And
So in Stony
Stony Brook Farms, yep.
Wow.
Mm.
So it's on, man. It's serious.
I did get an email because it went to one of my RNs in Colorado, and her brother is actually with a watchdog group, organic watchdog group, and they're starting to fight it.
That's cool.
Good.
So I'll send you the email
Good.
on it.
I mean, there's lawsuits
Yeah.
against Monsanto. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on, man.
Yeah. They're pretty nasty. Well,
They're nasty.
Monsanto actually endorses aspartame.
Right.
They're the producers of aspartame, Oh, but they goodness. also back the American Dietetic Association, or Diabetic Association, and so they endorse aspartame.
Right.
Wow.
Because aspartame is better than sugar, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. I was actually reading an article before class earlier this afternoon, and it was talking about genetically modified foods. We got time, I think. We're almost done. And it was really interesting because some farmers did some experiments just for fun, like at their local farms. And what they would do is they'd put like corn out, a regular ear of corn that they grew in their garden, and they'd take a genetically modified piece of corn, and they'd see what the animals would eat. And every single time, the animals ate the real corn and not the genetically modified corn. Deer, cows, they did it with cows. They had 2 feed troughs and put one regular corn and one genetically modified corn. Every time. I mean, animals are instinctually smart. You know, humans, I'm sorry, we're not. I mean, that's not a knock against humans, but we're just not. We don't use our instincts, you know? And animals always avoid that stuff. One guy even, he didn't put any more of the he didn't put any more of the real corn out. He just left the genetically modified corn out. And he had a really bad winter and freeze and everything like that. The squirrels got desperate enough. They ate the top row of corn, of the genetically modified corn, but that's it. So they went and got their food elsewhere.
Wow.
And then as soon as he put the other corn back, boop, they were right back. So animals know.
Animals know.
I just read an article about, the Monsanto, how they have the genetically modified alfalfa, and how actually that's going to spread into I think the question was something like, are we going to have any more organic foods in the future, or something like
Right.
that?
Yeah, right now, the way the law states is there's no genetically modified foods with USA standard organic products, US certified organic products.
But if it
But-
goes in the wind,
I know, but if they let one through, it opens the floodgates, and that's what always happens. So,
Well, I think the Department of Agriculture just agreed to let Monsanto, they call it genetically engineered alfalfa, go through without any restrictions. And I mean, there was a fight that's been going on for a couple years where they tried to stop him, but I think his name is Vilsack, who's running the USDA.
Okay.
If you're going to write letters to Monsanto, I mean, I think that's good, but you have a real uphill battle because they have a business model that, and they've spent like $500 million. I'm not, you know, the numbers get so big you lose track of it. They spent so much money just lobbying to get this passed.
Oh yeah.
And to recover that money, I mean, they have a model that tells them, you know, if we can get this in, we'll be able to recover this plus so much more.
Oh sure.
That they're not going to, you know, they're not going to be really susceptible to letter.
Oh no, I know. But there's a lot of things you can do, and if
there are other
yeah,
things
if there's other things you can do, and if people don't do something, then
you know,
it just gets ignored. So
I know,
Yeah.
you know, and
but pharmaceutical
I'm
companies do
very
the exact
cynical.
same thing.
Huh. Oh yeah.
Yeah, pharmaceutical companies do the same thing. I mean, if you don't, this is random, but if you don't know that pharmaceutical companies have a group of lawyers, and what they do is they keep track of dollars, and as soon as the dollars that they're paying out on lawsuits becomes more than the revenues they're creating from the drug, that's when they take the drug off the market. Has nothing to do with how many people die or how many side effects there are. It has to do with when they stop making a profit because of
Right.
lawsuits. That's when a drug comes off the market.
Right. These things are pegged into business models.
Yeah, it's part of the business model.
Right.
Exactly.
These, you know, I'm getting pretty cynical. I mean, sometimes I think it's going to take violence to get some of this stuff done. I mean, you know, you look over at Egypt right now, what they've gone
This
through.
is
You
being
know.
tape recorded.
We're going to have Homeland Security here, right?
Well, again, that's what they did in Europe. They marched in the street
Yeah.
by the tens of thousands.
Well, it's almost set the farmers' fields on fire. Excuse me. It's
Yeah.
not worth anything anyway.
Edit.
I mean,
Yeah.
Either
Cut
that
tape.
or hope that God sends a hailstorm. Either that or hope that God sends a hailstorm and it flattens every field around.
Maybe a
that
swarm
has
of locusts.
Monsanto.
Yeah.
They won't eat it.
They won't eat it.
Dang it, that's right. Maybe if God tells them to.
well, the other side of the coin of that is just to have faith that, you know, something higher is going to really take care of this
Oh, yeah.
stuff. But, you know, you can
Yeah.
always go down that road too.
Yep.
And, you know, that's where I tend to go most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what a lot of these advocacy groups or like these watchdog groups do is they're trying to inform people that you have the ultimate decision because it's your dollar
Right.
that supports that company. So if everybody finds out, if the news spreads and the awareness spreads,
That's right.
our dollars go to the right places, local farmers and away from Monsanto.
Right.
Like, look what's happening with Walmart right now. Their revenues have actually declined for the last few years. They just posted a 1.3% loss for last quarter. That doesn't happen.
Right. And companies like Monsanto spend millions of dollars to fight laws to make them label products. So you can't do something like that. Whereas you were required to label whether it's GMO or not, they fought that.
Right.
Because they knew consumers, if we got organized,
Absolutely.
they would. Right.
Yep.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, those guys.
You rarely see a GMO label.
Right.
Yeah. And if it's not GMO, they put non-GMO like
That's
real
right.
big, so you know.
Non-GMO.
Exactly.
I've seen those labels. I've never seen anything that says that it is genetically modified.
Right.
Right,
so-
because people pushed to have them, require them to put that on, and they fought it.
Yeah.
I guess they won.
Yep.
Well, everything would have it. All of our meat counters would have
Yep.
GMO on it because of the
Oh, really?
The
Yeah.
corn.
well, because of
It's
the corn,
pervasive.
whatever they feed the animals.
Yep.
I mean, they don't feed them grass.
Yep.